Okay na, Grace?
Okay na. Wait lang po.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. The topic for this chapter is about greening the supply chain management. And this
Excuse me,
module,
Vicky, excuse.
yes po,
Pa-full screen naman ng PowerPoint. Thank you.
ay si Grace po kasi nagpa-present. Grace, paki po.
Hindi pa rin naka-full screen po.
Sir, na-adjust po ata yan sa monitor niyo po.
Hindi siya naka-full screen sa amin eh. Yung naka-slideshow.
Wait lang po.
I-reading view mo ata, Grace.
Ito,
Okay na
yun.
po.
Hindi pa. O may delay lang on my part. Kayo ba, sa inyo, with your
Hindi pa rin po.
Ganun din.
ayun, sa iba ba, merong siyang yung sa may scale ng 0 to 100, yung positive, negative. O kaya F5.
Sabi ng zoom in, zoom out.
Ito po, sir. Okay na po.
Wait lang po.
Hindi pa din.
Hindi pa din. Wait lang po.
Grace, alisin mo muna sa pagkaka-share screen. Tapos, kapag slideshow ka, yun yung pinaka-slideshow yung i-share screen mo. Yung,
Okay. Sige. Wait lang. Wait. Slide. Okay. Tuloy natin ulit. Okay na po.
Hindi pa din.
Bakit?
F5 na lang, F5.
Opo, sir. Ganun po ginagawa ko po. Bakit now? Use presenter view.
From, naka na yun, from beginning ba?
Opo, sir.
Sige, okay na yun.
Okay na po.
Subuko agad eh. Sige po, proceed. Thank you.
So again po, good afternoon. So the topic for this chapter is about greening the supply chain management. And this module includes defining green supply chain management, identifying its benefits and drivers, defining environmentally preferable purchasing or EPP, as well as defining environmental management system. Next po, Grace.
Nagalaw.
Hindi. Hindi sa akin.
Bakit naka-full screen sa? Nangyayari. Wait lang po.
Ayun, backslide ka. Nasobra ng isang slide.
Eto, okay na?
Wait lang.
Wala.
Hindi pa rin siya.
Wait lang po.
Hindi gumagal.
Yan. So, it is stated here that going green is not a choice but an imperative. So we know that we are experiencing global warming, climate change, pollution, and as the environmental awareness is increasing, firms are facing heavy pressure from different stakeholders, especially the government, to decrease their harmful effect on the environment. That is why going green is not a choice, but an imperative. It's a necessary response to the environmental issues that we are facing. Green supply chain management refers to the idea of integrating sustainable environmental processes into the traditional supply chain. This can include processes such as supplier selection, purchasing material, product design, product manufacturing and assembling, distribution, and end-of-life management. So, in a simple manner, this green supply chain management thing is applying green practices in the supply chain operations. Next po. So, let's refer to figure 1. Nababasa ba yung text sa figure?
Ano
Green
to?
supply chain of child's crib manufacturer.
For
Yes.
some siguro hindi na nila mabasa yung nasa loob pero nababasa pa naman.
So, in the example, we can see how they adopt green practices in their supply chain. So first is the sourcing of raw materials. We have here ethical sourcing or green sourcing. Um, it means sourcing or purchasing materials and components which have eco-friendly characteristics such as reusability, recyclability, and non-use of hazardous or dangerous chemicals. So in this case, in the case of child's crib, green or ethical sourcing is choosing a supplier of trees or wood that follows logging practices in a sense that no other living things are affected. Then in the manufacturing part, this is where green production practices are followed, which involves the application of green resources. Dito din po pumapasok ang lean manufacturing, which aims to eliminate waste and improve the efficiency of manufacturing process. So in the child's crib, green practices are when it comes to the packaging of the product, one way in going green is to use eco-friendly or recycled materials, just like what the child's crib manufacturer did. They use boxes which are made from post-consumer recycled materials. Natin gagamitin, tas may mga kumbaga taong mas nangangailangan pwede naman nating ibigay or ipamana. Then of course the end of life, this is where the product is no longer useful or no longer functions as it should be. And in this part, recyclable parts should be recycled and the rest should be properly disposed. So in summary, green supply chain is the consideration of environmental impact in every process found in the supply chain. Next slide po. So the idea of green supply chain management is to eliminate or if not minimize waste in the form of energy, emission, chemical, hazardous solid waste, etc. along the supply chain. The most important idea behind a green supply chain is to implement a supply chain that is sustainable for future generations. So, when you're adopting green supply chain, you're actually aiming for long-term results. The term here is sustainability. And to achieve that, it requires consistency in adopting green practices in the supply chain, which means that green practices should be present continuously in every process in the supply chain. Next po. Now, why should businesses care about having a green supply chain? Bakit kailangan nilang mag-adapt sa, ng green supply chain when their goal is to put up a business and generate profit from it? Yun lang naman, so bakit kailangan nilang mag-adapt dito? So first, is for the business to do well in the long run. So as I have said earlier about sustainability, firms who adopt green supply chain are preparing for such a long run. And the second one is because a lot of customers care. So if you're the type of businessman who does not care about climate change but still going green, it is because simply your customers do. Your customers care about the environment. And even I in a customer's point of view, I would prepare buying things that are eco-friendly rather than those na hindi. Kasi, in my perspective, napakinabangan ko na yung product. At the same time, nakatulong pa ako sa environment, which is a win-win situation for the customer, for the business, kasi kumita sila, and also for the environment. And it is also like a marketing technique. It is like attracting potential buyers, yung mga pro-environmental na mga tao. Ma-attract din sila. Kumbaga, sila yung magiging potential customers or potential buyers ng business, ng products more rather. Next po. So the benefits of green supply chain management. First is reduces the environmental pollution, which is the main goal of green supply chain management, as we discussed earlier. And the reduces production costs. So when waste is minimized, so too are the costs associated with it. The next is optimized supply chain. So optimized supply chain means getting your customers what they want when they want it and spending as little money as possible while accomplishing that. And if that's the case, there will be greater customer satisfaction, which is the third one. And the fourth one is positive image and reputation. So the more green your supply chain is, the more of a public relations and marketing benefit it may be. So like imagine informing your consumers that your green supply chain activities are actually saving the planet, are actually good for the environment. So how good is that development? Then and when you have the first four benefits, this will lead to better opportunity to export products, especially in pro-environmental countries. Um, to dig deeper about green supply chain management, we have Miss Angel Habutay to discuss its drivers.
Thank you, Mickey. Grace,
Welcome.
pa-next nga ako. Thank you. Ayan, yung i-discuss ko naman po ay yung drivers of green supply chain management. Kapag sinabing green drivers, these are the motivators that include business organizations adopting green supply chain practices. So, ito ay nade-divide siya sa dalawa. Una ay external drivers. which are the factors outside the organization that are likely to influence it or impact on it in some way. Yung pangalawa naman doon ay yung internal drivers. These are the things, situations, or events that occurred inside the business and is generally under control of the company. Yung internal drivers din, isa tong factors inside the organization that bring change. Next tayo, Grace, sa slide. Thank you. Una muna ay yung external drivers. Under ng external drivers, under nun is yung suppliers. Suppliers, manufacturers collaborate with suppliers to set environmental standards for exploring green supply chain management, such as designing product which can eliminate the environmental impact of producing, developing environmentally friendly packages. Tapos yung suppliers din, consider din siya as important part to promote environmental practices. Next is the regulatory. Government regulations and laws enforced by the government on environmental damages, full resource, and dumping of products have triggered organizations to follow supply chain practices. Dito sa regulatory, the government regulation and legislation is a major driver for companies' environmental efforts to implement the SCM practices. Kaya naman, it is importante na yung manufacturing firms ay magkaroon pa ng further study about sa regulations and environmental standards. Hindi lang dun sa country na kinabibilangan nila, especially para dun sa mga business na silang meron din sa ibang bansa, importante na alam din nila yung government regulation and laws kasi iba-iba naman yon. Next, yung pangatlo dun sa external driver ay market or consumer. Customers today are environmentally friendly, looking for green products like organic food products, less plastic, and biodegradable products. Dito sa market and consumer, consumer behavior are more likely to pay attention to the environmental product. Mag-purchase nila yung environmentally friendly kasi nga aware na sila about sa nangyayari sa environment. Next slide, Grace. Thank you. Pang-apat is the competitors. Environmentally practices by global competitors and cause as due to less usage and recycling of resources have triggered green in supply chain practices. Pagdating sa competitors, the manufacturers developing the green product to meet the market requirement. Nowadays nga kasi yung nag-iiba na yung need ng consumer kaya kailangan para maging competitive, mag-maintain competitiveness nila sa market, kailangan nila ng ma-meet yung requirement nila. Last sa external drivers ay yung social or stakeholder. Demand and inducements from community, industrial associations, interest groups, NGOs, and motivate corporates to follow sustainable practices. Due to the deterioration of the environment sa package, it has increased the public awareness of environmental issues. Kaya naman yung social, they demanded for product that is environmental friendly. Kaya ngayon, most of the companies, nire-review nila yung environmental practices nila. Kasi kapag katulad dun sa kapag hindi nila pinagpatuloy yun, consider yun as a threat or disruptive. Kasi magbibigay ng opportunities para sa other companies to reach yung customers who want environments. Yun lang yung external drivers. For the internal drivers, next, thank you, Grace. Ayan, sa internal drivers, una doon ay yung top management. The commitment of top management plays a significant role in bringing GSCM strategies to achieve successful results. Napaka-importante na may support yung top management sa pag-implement ng GSCM sa isang business. Example is yung top management, they define the vision, mission, and organization policies and they communicate policies sa mga employees nila at a different levels na makakatulong para ma-achieve yung kailangan nilang collaboration across the company. The second one is organization strategy. Many firms had to adapt the green strategy to enhance the brand image and maintain the market share. Dito, dahil aware na yung mga consumers sa environmental standard, mas prepared nila bumili ng mga products sa mga companies na nag-offer ng environmentally friendly product. Kaya kasi ayun na nga, bukod sa nakabili na nga sila, nakatulong pa sila dun sa environment. For the next nga, Grace, na slide. Thank you. Pang-apat yung economic benefit. The benefits derived from the implementation of GSCM strategy are cost saving, increasing customer satisfaction, new market opportunities, improving corp image, and higher profits. Pagdating sa economic benefit, ah isa isa pa ay yung na dapat ma-achieve sa economic benefit pagka in-apply yung GSCM ay yung high profit na makakatulong pa siya para mag-motivate pa sa mga other companies na mag-implement ng GSCM. Last is the reverse logistics. It refers to creating back life cycle. It is a significant driver which regulated in Europe, North America, and state in the other parts of the world. Kapag sinabing reverse logistics, ito yung movement of goods from customers back to the sellers or manufacturers. Nangyayari yung reverse logistics kasi nga may mali sa consumer, minsan mali yung na-order nila or may defects yung na-receive nila na in-order nila or inabil nila. So ayun, magiging challenge din yun para sa company kapag kung paano nila bibigyan ng solusyon yon. Kasi it's either mapunta yun sa landfill or ma-recycle ulit yung pagkakitaan ulit. Kasi nga, kapag pinagkakitaan ulit nila, mag-gain yun ng public attention for ginawa nila yung part to ensure discarded products na hindi nag-end lang sa landfill. Tapos, ayun, yun na yung, doon na lang tapos yung report ko para dun sa sunod na report sa environmentally preferable purchasing ay si Grace na po yung magpe-present. Thank you.
So, yung next subtopic sa chapter na to is Environmentally Preferable Purchasing or EPP. So, Environmentally Preferable Purchasing or EPP is defined as the acquisition of products which have a minimal or reduced environmental impact. This term includes recyclable products, recycled and reusable products. So, ito yung pag-purchase ng isang company or organization sa mga materials na may lesser impact sa health ng isang tao o yung mga products na hindi makakasama sa environment natin. Kino-consider dito yung mga raw materials na gagamitin, yung packaging, yung sa operation maintenance sa production, and also yung distribution of products and disposal of waste ng production. So madaling salita, ito yung mga reusable materials, recycled and recyclable. Prioritize din ng EPP yung mga eco-friendly products. That's why it is also considered as green purchasing. So kung natatandaan nyo, nung last time na nag-discuss ng chapter 3, kasama ang green purchasing sa types of procurement strategy. So isa ito sa strategy na ginagamit ng company dahil mas na-optimize ito yung process sa isang production and at the same time, nakakapag-produce sila ng mga eco-friendly na products. At makakatulong din to para mabawasan yung environmental pollution na dala ng isang production and yung pati na din yung gastos na para sa operation maintenance sa pamamagitan ng energy savings or renewable sources. So next is environmentally preferable products or sustainable products. It is defined as products and services that have a lesser or reduced effect on human health and the environment when compared to competing products or services that serve the same purpose. So, sustainable product, these are the products that provide energy efficient, durable, and usually nag-require ito ng low maintenance. Kadalasan gawa ito sa mga recycled materials or from renewable sources, and it can also be biodegradable para mapadali yung pag-reuse and pag-recycle at the end of their life cycle. So most of the organizations, nag-implement sila ng sustainable solutions para mabawasan yung harmful effect nito sa environment natin. So in other words, these products help preserve the environment by significantly reducing the pollution and waste that they could produce. So usually yung green products, meron siyang two basic goals. Una nga dyan is yung reducing waste and pangalawa is yung maximizing resource efficiency. Na-manufactured sila using toxic-free ingredients and environmentally friendly procedures. So next naman is yung mga characteristics na kino-consider ng isang organization or ng company sa paggamit or pag-produce ng green products or sustainable products. Una na dyan is yung contained recycled materials. Ito yung mga recycled or remanufactured materials or parts such as, for example, 100% recycled paper. Then, pangalawa is minimize waste. Kasama dito yung sa packaging na pwedeng i-recycle or gamitin ulit. Then, third is conserve energy, water, or other natural resources na gawa sa sustainable resources. Then, fourth is prevent pollution. Dito, nami-minimize yung emissions such as volatile organic compounds or VOCs. Kapag sinabing VOCs, ito yung mga nagpo-produce ng photochemical reaction like carbon, carbonic acid, or monoxide na kadalasan nagkakos ito sa tao ng irritation sa mata, ilong, and also nadadamage din ito, possible na madamage din ito yung nervous system ng isang tao. So, ayan yung mga bagay na iniiwasan ng isang company na mangyari, kaya isa ang green purchasing sa types of procurement strategy. The next is reduce the number of toxic substances or contain fewer toxic substances na pwedeng ma-dispose or ma-consume ng buyer. Then next is encourage environmentally positive practices like yung paggamit ng energy efficient sources and yung mga pag-recycle ng mga materials. Then last is yung uses energy alternatives to fossil fuel. So here are some of the companies that uses green products or sustainable products. Most of these company, gumagamit sila ng renewable energy sources sa pagpo-produce ng products nila like yung Honda na ang goal is mabawasan yung carbon emission ng motorcycles, automobiles, and yung mga power products na napoproduce nila. And also yung Apple Corporation na kung saan nagamit sila ng wind and solar farms para sa kanilang data centers and retail stores and yung sa corporate offices. Usually mayroon sila nagfo-focus sila sa tatlong aspect of sustainability. Una na dyan is yung minimizing the impact ng climate change sa climate, and also yung sa pagpreserve ng natural resources and yung paggamit ng safe materials sa pagproduce ng product and also sa work environment nila. Isa din yung Nike sa gumagamit ng renewable sources sa pagmamanufacture ng products nila like footwear, apparel, sports equipment, and other accessories. Next is yung IKEA, yung company nila is one of the leaders in sustainable industry practices. Kilala sila sa pagproduce ng mga ready-to-use furniture and homewares. Nagamit ang IKEA ng more than 700,000 solar panels para sa pagmamanufacture ng mga product nila. And ganun din naman yung 7th generation na nagpo-produce naman ng mga cleaning products. Yung mission ng company nila is to transform the world into a healthy, sustainable, and equitable place for the next 7 generations. At yung Starbucks na nagamit ng eco-friendly cup na pwedeng madoble yung recycled content and yung reusability. So next naman is cost savings. So here are some example cost savings opportunities na pwedeng ma-achieve ng isang company or organization kapag nag-implement sila and gumamit sila ng green purchasing. Una na dyan is yung pwedeng ma-reduce yung operational cost through energy savings from more efficient equipment. Tulad nga ng mga nabanggit ko kanina na company, most of them ay nagamit ng renewable sources which is very helpful sa kanila dahil hindi magiging ganun kalaki yung gastos sa pag-maintain ng machine and equipment. Next is yung disposal cost of hazardous and solid waste. Pwede ma-consider dito yung packaging na ginagamit ng isang company. Kaya naman may ibang company na ginagawang eco-friendly yung packaging nila para pwede ulit ma-recycle and magamit ng buyer. Next is pwede rin mabawasan yung gastos nila sa pagpapa-repair and replacement and pagpapa-replace ng machine and equipment kapag gumamit sila ng durable and repairable equipment. Kaya dito sa cost savings, napakahalaga na i-consider yung quality ng isang equipment na gagamitin sa pagpo-produce ng products, and syempre kailangan din ng proper maintenance. And also, mababawasan din yung mga possible accident na pwedeng mangyari sa isang employee o kaya naman yung pagkakaroon ng sakit dahil sa pagka-expose sa mga chemicals na ginagamit sa loob ng production. And last is yung mababawasan din yung paggamit nila ng materials and energy consumption. So, here are the steps in developing a green purchasing program. Ayan. So, first step is find a leader. So, in order to succeed, the organization needs to choose a leader for green initiatives, whether it is self-selected or appointed. So, kapag nakapili na ng tao, ng leader, ito yung magiging accountable for organization's progress. So, next step is build a team. Regardless of where you start and how good a leader you have, going green will require expertise and support of a wide range of agency personnel. So kapag nakabuo na yung organization ng isang team, sila yung magde-decide na and gagawa ng rules para maging successful ang pagpapatupad ng green purchasing. Titignan nila dito if effective ba yung mga steps na gagawin nila para ma-achieve yung success ng isang organization. Then third step is start small. Dito naman, after building a team, mahalaga na pag-usapan yung work na gagawin, and at the same time mag-start muna dapat ng sa mga simple projects na pwedeng makatulong sa pagbubuo ng green purchasing program. Then fourth step is establish a baseline or benchmark. Consider what you are presently buying and target those items you know have recycled or environmentally preferable alternatives. So mahalaga na alam ng buong team dito sa step na to kung saan sila nakafocus, kung ano yung ipo-purchase nila para magkaroon ng mas effective na production. And mahalaga rin na gamitin ang Green Team's expertise para makagain ng access and ma-analyze yung information and gamitin yon for green efforts. Then fifth step is involve stakeholders. Some sustainability efforts may not be very visible to your coworkers, but in most cases, staff support will be vital for your success. So in green purchasing program, mahalaga sa isang team na pakinggan yung suggestion ng iba para magkaroon ng mas malawak na knowledge when it comes in developing a green purchasing program. Baka kasi may mas magandang idea yung coworkers, so much better na consider yung ganitong setup sa green purchasing program. The next step is get management buy-in. As mentioned at the beginning of this section, a green procurement program will be much more successful if you have the management on your side. So it is necessary for the team to send an email or memo to all of the staff regarding a specific green initiatives para naman ma-adapt nila yung sustainability policy ng green purchasing program and para ma-recognize din ng management yung mga efforts na ginagawa ng team if magiging aware sila sa mga plano ng team para magkaroon ng successful program. Then, next step is develop EPP specifications for contract. Work with your purchasing staff to make sure that green products are available and accessible. So, in this step, mahalaga na mayroon yung isang team na maayos na connection sa kanilang purchasing staff para ma-sure na lahat ng bibilhin or magpo-purchase ng team nyo is available. Then next step is track progress. As you are planning and implementing your green initiatives, allocate time and effort for measuring and tracking the changes that take place. So dito sa step na to, makakatulong to para matrack yung implementation sa project na ginagawa nyo. Like yung basis for assessing the overall cost savings, health, and kasama din dyan yung environmental benefits sa work na ginagawa nyo. And also, makakatulong din to sa pag-track ng progress para ma-identify yung mga possible issues na pwedeng ma-experience sa pag-implement ng green purchasing program. Then, next step is market your success. Use your tracking data to demonstrate project successes to your management. So, in this step, gagamitin ng team nyo yung tracking data para maipakita sa management, co-workers, and sa mga stakeholders outside of the organization yung mga ginagawa niyong steps para ma-achieve yung pinaka-goal ng inyong team. Then last step is don't forget your suppliers. Talk to your suppliers about the recycled content or other environmentally preferable alternatives that may be available. So every time na magpo-purchase ang organization mo sa suppliers, importante na aware yung team nyo sa mga products na binibenta ng supplier nyo, and kailangan i-make sure na nag-implement din sila ng environmentally preferable initiatives throughout their operations para ma-sure naman na yung ipo-purchase is included pa sa green purchasing program ng ginagawa nyo. So next, so ayun yung 10 steps para makapag-develop and makapag-implement ng green purchasing program. Then next is yung challenges. So regardless of the environmental initiatives chosen to pursue, most organizations face similar issues. So una na dyan is yung lack of commitment or interest from upper management. So minsan nakaka-apekto yung sa pag-implement yung kawalan ng interest or hindi aware yung management sa pagbuo ng guidelines and plan para sa green purchasing na ginagawa ng isang team. So, isa na ring effect dyan yung possible resistance from coworkers due to a lack of staff education and training. So, mahalaga na make sure talaga na lahat ng involved sa pagbuo ng program is knowledgeable when it comes to green purchasing. And dapat lahat is well-trained para maiwasan yung possible issues na pwedeng ma-experience ng team. Then next is yung lack of expertise in environmental issues and new technologies, particularly those involving technical data, reporting, and analysis. Then fourth is conflicting or confusing information that may create misconceptions. And last is yung difficulty in tracking green purchases. Then benefits of environmentally favorable purchasing. Una na dyan is you encourage industry to adopt cleaner technologies and para makapag-produce ng product na hindi makakasama sa environment natin. Then reduce waste, which can reduce waste disposal cost. Then third is reduce environmental health impacts of products and services. Then reduce pollution by using renewable sources like yung mga nabanggit kong ang company kanina na gumagamit ng renewable sources. Then last is reduce energy and water consumption. So that's all. Yun po yung about sa environmentally preferable purchasing. Next po.
Next muna, Grace. So, so the next topic is Environmental Management System or EMS. A set of processes and practice that enable an organization to reduce its environmental impacts and increase its operating efficiency. It's a framework that helps an organization achieve its environmental goals through consistent review, evaluation, and improvement of its environmental performance. The assumption is that this consistent review and evaluation will identify opportunities for improving and implementing the environmental performance of the organization. The EMS itself does not dictate a level of environmental performance that must be achieved. Each organization's EMS is tailored to its own individual objectives and targets. Yung EMS objective is an overall goal arising from the environmental policy statement set by the organization. Yung EMS target is a detailed measurable performance requirement related to the objective. Next po. Next is basic elements of an EMS. Reviewing the organization's environmental goals, analyzing its environmental impacts and compliance obligations or legal and other requirements. Setting environmental objectives and targets to reduce environmental impacts and conform with compliance obligations.
establishing programs to meet these objectives and targets, monitoring and measuring progress in achieving the objectives, ensuring employees' environmental awareness and competence, and last, reviewing progress of the EMS and achieving improvements. Next po. So, ano nga ba ang benefits of an environmental management system? The advantages of using an environmental management system include ensuring a holistic approach to an environmental impacts, focusing on only critical aspects and processes, making use of time-tested, mature approaches recognized worldwide, establishing positive relationships with regulators, and real cost savings. EMS programs can not only reduce your organization use resources, they can also streamline your workflows and processes. This can translate into lower shipping and purchasing costs, improved productivity, and less product loss due to spoilage or error. Next po. So the figure shows the PDCA cycle. An EMS follows a plan, do, check, act, or PDCA cycle. The PDCA model ensures environmental issues are systematically identified, controlled, and monitored in accordance with an organization's environmental policy, which is periodically reviewed and updated. The EMS uses the PDCA model and incorporates the following elements. First is plan. Establish plans and processes for environmental performance, improvement, and identifying environmental aspects and establishing goals. Starting with the understanding the context of your organization and what the needs and expectations are of your interested parties. Then, you can determine what your EMS scope is and define your EMS. Then, you need to identify your leadership commitment to guide your EMS and identify the roles, responsibilities, and authorities required for your EMS. Next is do. Implement the processes as planned and includes training and operational controls. The starting point is in establishing the operational controls needed to ensure that the processes of the organization can function in such a way that negative effects on the environment are controlled. The final step is to have the plans in place for emergency preparedness and response should any emergency arise. Next is check. Regularly check to ensure that processes are followed and effective. The methods of doing this are listed as monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation, which applies to the key characteristics of the organizations that can have significant impact on the and last is act. These sections includes dealing with nonconformity and corrective action in order to fix problems found during performance evaluation, gathered, and make any necessary adjustment to the plans for the EMS. If a target has been met, then a new target can be chosen. If there are problems reaching a target, then resources for the program can be reviewed and adjustments made. These activities are completed with requirements for continual improvement as a way to ensure that EMS improves over time and take action to continually improve and includes progress reviews and acting to make needed changes. Next po. EMS under ISO 14001. The figure shows the continuous improvement cycle. An EMS encourages an organization to continuously improve its environmental performance. The system follows a repeating cycle. Next po. The 5 ISO 14001 standard. First is commitment and policy or environmental policy. Top management or facility manager commits to environmental improvement and establishes the organization's environmental policy. The policy is the foundation of the EMS. Next is planning. Identify aspects and impacts from facility activities, products, and services. Review legal requirements, set objectives and targets, and establish formal EMS programs. Next is implementation. A organization follows through with the action plan using the necessary resources like human, financial, and etc. An important component is employee training and awareness for all employees, including interns and contractors. Other steps in the implementation stage include documentation, following operating procedures, and setting up internal and external communication lines. Fourth is evaluation or checking and corrective action. Conduct periodic monitoring of environmental performance, identifying root causes of findings, and conduct corrective and preventive actions, maintaining environmental records, and conduct periodic EMS audit. And last is review. Top management Top management reviews the result of the evaluation to see if the EMS is working. Management determines whether the original environmental policy is consistent with the organization's values. The plan is to revise to optimize the effectiveness of the EMS. The review stage creates a loop of continuous improvement for a company. The cycle repeats and continuous improvements occurs. Wala. So yung relationship po ng PDCA cycle to ISO 14001 is yung PDCA cycle is the operating principle of all ISO management system standards, including ISO 14001. By following this cycle, you can effectively manage and continually improve your organization's effectiveness. Yun lang po, tapos na.
Thank you very much to all of you. So please give me 60 seconds no to provide some thoughts on your discussion. Wait lang po, 60 seconds. Alright, so sensya na, hindi lang siya ano eh. Hindi lang siya 60 seconds. Ayan, kasi tawag ng tawag kasi may tumatawag kasi na administrator sa ibang campus. So, yun lang. So, pinagbiya ko lang yung tawag. So, anyways, no, so very comprehensive in discussion niya about supply chain, greening the supply chain management. No? So, if I'm going to ask you, no, so if you can join my mentee, so pa-exit nga po ng screen. If you can join my mentee, so para everybody can participate, no? So, ayan lang. Paano ba mag-share? Your entire screen and window. Ito na lang. So, eto. Sige. Eto, okay na. Nakikita nyo na. The code is 8690. So, just go to menti.com and exit 86905498. So, let me see if I can proceed on this. Menti.com. The code is 8690 5498. So yeah, so we're going to vote, no? So it's actually my screen, no? So are you going to vote for GSCM, Green Supply Chain Management, or the typical SCM? So if you're going to choose between the two, so which one do you prefer? Is it the Green Supply Chain or the typical Supply Chain Management? So just go to menti.com and use the code. So 6905498, no? So andyan na kayo. So like for example, sumagot ako.
Sir, wala pa. Ay,
Sir, wala pong naka-present.
Ayan na, meron na. May sumagot na isa. Ako yata yun. Hindi, joke lang, hindi pa yata. Okay na kayo, menti.com. Naka-screen share na ba sa inyo?
Hindi pa po,
Hindi
sir.
po.
Hindi po, sir.
Hindi ba? Buwan ako naman. Sorry na. Paano ba to? Okay. Pwedeng eto. Ayan, nakikita nyo na.
Yes po.
Ayan. Please go to menti.com and use the code 86905498. No? So, meron na isang bumoto. So, are you going to proceed with the GSCM or the typical supply chain management? O may dalawa na. Bakit kaya? Okay, may tanong tayo. May sundo tayo dyan sa... Okay, so we have one favoring the ordinary supply chain management. Okay na. So, meron tayong 26 for the green supply chain. No? So, may erasang sumagot na ordinary supply chain management. 27. 28 and 1. Okay, so what about the next slide? Meron ba ito kasi? Ayan, Y. So, on this second slide, no, so you can actually uh, put the word or group of words that will describe your ano. So, like for example, bakit green supply chain nga ba yung pinili natin? So, ano yung mga benefits na pwede nating makuha for the organization? Meron bang option? Kaya nga, hindi ko alam kung may option to. Why daw? So, you can actually submit three answers, no? So, justifying your decisions on the first slide. So, wala pa. Nag-iisip ba kung bakit? So let us see your responses no, regarding this. Okay, reduce pollution. To reduce daw the pollution. So, eco-friendly. So, symbiotic relationship. Wala bang commensalism dyan? Attracts more customer. Responsibility as a human. Cost saving, reduction of pollution. So far, and then eco-friendly, reduce pollution, safe for future generation, attracts more customer, less cost saving, eco-friendly. Okay, reduce pollution, so and cost saving, yung halos lumalabas na words, no? What else? Halos reduce waste, reduce pollution, eco-friendly, halos sila yung may pinakamalaking count. Okay. Environmental advocacy, save the nature, reduce risk, meron tayong greener and safer future. Totoo ba? And then importance of environment, and then potential for new partner, attracts more customers. So marami eco-friendly, iba-iba lang yung way of putting it in your answer. So win for organ planet, cost reduction, symbiotic relationship. And then you have also this competitive advantage. So far, we can visibly see that pollution reduction is the main concern on this green supply chain. So, yun naman talaga. That's why we do encourage that. But then, ano pa may mga possible na lumabas dyan na sagot sa inyo? Teka, naka-ano ba? Okay, so reduce pollution, greener and safer future. Okay, so I guess okay na yan. Ano? So if we're going to look back on the presentations of this group, no, so it has actually discussed no, the green supply chain management. No, so sabi daw, going green is not a choice but an imperative. No? So I mean to say, it's crucial that we should practice this particular factor. No? So greening the supply chain management. And then you have also mentioned or elaborated the green supply chain of a child screen manufacturer. So ito yung isa sa example na ginawa ni ano. So stop share ko na po ito. Thank you for your participation on this Menti activity. No? So stop share ko na. And Okay. Ayan, so you have also mentioned some of the factors like elimination or minimization of waste, so para daw sustainable yung ating future generations. And then the first discussant mentioned the benefits of green supply chain management, and then the drivers of green supply chain management categorized into two. So in the external and the internal drivers. So under external drivers, so you have the suppliers, regulatory, market, consumer, competitor, social, stakeholder. And then on the internal drivers, so these are the top management, organization, strategy, cost reduction, economic benefit, reverse logistics. And then you have also discussed the APP, the environmentally preferable purchasing, and then the characteristics, and then some of the companies that uses green products or sustainable products. So most likely, so these are the brands, no, or company na medyo sustainable na talaga and ando na talaga, no. So it's the iOS ba? So Apple, no, and then Nike, Starbucks, no? Yung IKEA, di ba, sa Shopee, and then Honda cars, no, sa generation and Patagonia. And then also discussed here is the cost savings, no, steps in developing a green purchasing program, and then also the challenges, no, so benefits of EPP and the EMS. So ito yung 14,001 on the ISO, so Environmental Management System. And then basic elements of EMS, and then the PDCA cycles, what we call the Deming cycle. No? So if you have noticed, no, halos paulit-ulit yung ating mga discussions dito. Some points here are actually being discussed, no, to your previous subjects, no. So kaya kung makikita nyo, parang may konting common sense, no. Parang kung i-appreciate natin that we are just only evolving on the system itself of a particular organization. So yun talaga yung ating ano. But then choosing between the two, no? So meron tayong yung sa ordinary supply chain management and then the green supply chain. So syempre may mga pros and cons tayo din na consider, no? So and then of course there's a lot of benefits, no? So going into green supply chain management, no? So but then may mga cons din naman tayo na kailangan natin i-consider dito. And then these are what we call the barriers, no, to effectively implement this green supply chain management. So actually may mga na-search tayo dito na ilang ano. So also some actually yung lima yata na mention na rin kanina ni Cha or ni sino ba yun, si si Grace ata yung nag-mention nun. But then isa is yung lack of IT implementation. Of course, di ba pagdating sa IT implementation, in a sense that wala tayong means or wala tayong information technology resources, no, like computers, internets, and other hardware and software na kailangan para mas maging effective yung ating procurement, no, kasi it talks about procurement na pagdating sa green supply chain, no. So isa siya sa mga naghihinder, no, para mas ma-implement natin siya effectively. So sumunod doon is yung resistance to technology advancement adoption. So may mga matatandang company like for example yung mga matatagal na, no, sa isang organization. So they are hesitant, no, to adopt this technological advancement, no. So yun, isang consideration yun. So it's a culture that we should consider, no, so implement green supply chain management. And then isa sa mga nakikita natin is yung lack of organization encouragement, no. So motivating the employees towards green supply chain management. So isa yon sa posible nating maging problema, no, implementing the GSCM. And then lack of quality of human resources, no. So paano daw ba mangyayari? Kaya nga yung sa TQM na sinasabi natin, no, so even on the hiring itself of a personnel, so it must be considered, no. So isa siya sa maging possible problem natin when we deal with the green supply chain management. So lack of quality human resources. So meaning we are not recruiting well-qualified and professionals, no? And then isa pa sa pwede natin makita is yung market competitions and uncertainty. So as we all know that there's the market competition and uncertainty is very high, so due to global competitiveness. and varying customers requirements. Di ba nga may mga the strategy is yung mga bigger companies, no, so are purchasing these competitors para maging kanila na rin, no? So monopolize nila yung production of a particular item. And then another one is lack of government support system. So if we're going to evaluate the the policies, no, and then the bills that are being implemented in our country. So ano-ano ba yung mga yon? So parang very late na nga eh. Imagine it's 2013 ba, 2015 na nagkaroon lang tayo ng plastic ban, no? And then kaya medyo affected yung ilan sa mga companies, no? Especially in Valenzuela, no? So kasi maraming companies producing these types of products, no? So yun. And then another is lack of implementing green practices. So yung mga lack of innovative green practices means not taking consideration of practices like hazardous solid waste disposal, so energy conservation, so reusing and recycling materials and so on. So normally naman kapag mga companies emitting these types of wastes, no, so hindi naman sila may issuehan to operate unless they are compliant with the yung sa DENR, no? So isa yun. And then especially if it's food product, if it's a food producing company, no, so may mga EMS ano rin yan, so environmental management system. And most likely naman. And then isa sa mga crucial is the lack of top management commitment. No? So baka kasi is just an ideal na sige, gawin natin to, but then so from the top management support, so hindi natin makuha yun. So marami kasing ganyan eh. So maganda yung concept, no? Maganda yung gusto natin mangyari, but then if it deals with the support from the top management, so hindi agad natin nakukuha. Kasi medyo kasi may konting bagal eh. So posible kasi na makahinder din yun. No? So imagine yung pag-procure pa lang ng mga green, parang to the green supply chain management ng mga less pollution emitting products, no. So posible makahinder, no, dun sa bilis ng ating operations, no? So kasi hindi naman lahat, 'di ba, ay providing this type of products. And then cost implications, so high investment requirement by green methodologies such as green design, green manufacturing, green labeling of packaging, etc. Ito pa nga lang pagpili ng packaging materials eh, 'di ba? For us to be on the circle of parang green manufacturing industries, no. So medyo may maka-apekto pa rin yun sa ating pag-provide ng services, no, and products to our stakeholders. And then supplier reluctance to change towards green supply chain management. So when we say reluctance, no, so hindi sila ganun favorable, no, in this concept, no. So yun. Isa sa mga nakita niyo ba, if you have noticed, isa sa mga applications, no, kung palagi kayo umiinom ng mga bottled water, no. So if you can notice previously yung mga cover ng bote, mga PET bottles na yan. 'Di ba ang kakapal? And then tingnan niyo yung ngayon, ang nipis-nipis na lang, 'di ba? And then even yung mismong container niya is pagka in-squeeze mo siya ng isang kamay, is kaya-kaya mo agad siya ma-squeeze, no? So, iyon yung sa mga parang environmental compliance sa mga ganitong as a type of industry. And then unawareness of customers, no? So unawareness customers do not know about green products and their benefits. So may mga nakita pa rin tayo dito na ilan, no? Parang with regards to conventional supply chain management, no? So marami naman talagang favor tayo makukuha on the green supply chain management. But then may mga disadvantage din, like yun nga, yung flexibility of our products, no? So posible kasi na, and then even on the system itself of our organization, so posible kasi mag-incur yun ng additional cost, no, para lang ma-meet natin yung parang green term, no? And then yun nga, on the procurement itself, no, so medyo mabagal yun kasi hindi naman lahat ng company, or majority of the companies are on the green supply chain management or green manufacturing industries. No? So, yeah. Um, I have nothing more to add now, so we can proceed now with the next presenter. So, these are my list. No? So, these are composed of Ada, Gab, and Andre. Also, Mark Lloyd Macaranas. No? So, the virtual screen now is yours. No? So, you may proceed now.
Kita na po ba?
Oh, yeah, kita na.
Okay, hello po. Kami po yung Group 5 and inbound logistics po ang itatakal namin today. I-start po tayo kay Ada.
So yan po, chapter 5 is about inbound logistics. So under inbound logistics are the subtopics international purchasing and global outsourcing, Incoterms, and documentary credits. So let's first discuss what is inbound logistics. It is the way materials and other goods are brought into a company. This process includes the steps to order, receive, store, transport, and manage incoming supplies. Inbound logistics focuses on the supply part of the supply-demand equation. Your supplier relationships are a key factor in creating a value here. So in inbound logistics, our keyword here is incoming or bringing in. Since inbound logistics focuses on the supply part, it deals with raw materials, so every process that involves and leads the materials into the company. And as I've mentioned earlier, your supplier relationships are a key factor in creating a value here. Again, because we deal with the supply, having a good relationship with suppliers is critical. We need an effective and constant communication to build trust. Also, it is important that he can pay on the given time and supplier can provide what we need as well. In here, we can see the inbound logistics activities. First one is the sourcing. Identifying and evaluating potential suppliers, obtaining price quotes, negotiating with it, and managing suppliers. So, when you're in a company, in a production, to be specific, you need raw materials. So, maghahanap po tayo ng supplier which meet our needs and also compatible with our payment terms and such. The second one is order placement. Buying the goods and materials the company needs so the right quantity arrives at the right time. So for example, you need 200 kilos of flour. Uh, kailangan advance mo siyang i-order if tama yung quantity and advance mo siyang i-order. If yung delivery time is estimated around 1 to 2 weeks, so syempre, siguro mga 3 weeks earlier, i-order mo na siya para on the production time, andun na mismo yung mga materials natin. The third one is transportation. Deciding whether to use a truck, airplane, train, or another method to move goods. This activity also involves selecting delivery speed for incoming supplies, contracting with third-party couriers, and working with vendors on price and route. So for example, domestic lang naman yung supplier natin, but your company is from Luzon and your supplier is from Visayas. So, ano ba yung mas, iisipin mo, ano ba yung mas magandang transportation na gagamitin? Via air ba, airplane, or ibabarko mo siya? What if you need it within a week? So, mas maganda if it's via airplane kaysa sa barko na pwede siyang umabot ng 1 or 2 weeks. The next one is receiving. Handling the arrival of new materials, unloading trucks, and na in-order mo. So, ang maganda po kasi dito is, habang binababa nila yung items, is isa-isa mo rin chine-check if the quantity and the type of that product is matched. So, para if ever na may kulang or may iba dun sa type ng product na yon, is madali kang makakakuha ng replacement or refund. The next one is inventory management. Deciding the type and number of raw materials you should store and where to locate the item. So in here, inventory natin yung mga dumating na materials. Saan ba siya itatago? At kung gano'n lang muna kadami yung ilalabas mo dun sa supply room na yun. For example, ang need mo lang sa production of this day is around 20 pieces. The remaining are in the supply room, and dun sa supply room na yun kasi kailangan naka-properly arrange siya, so you know anong-anong mga products na yung kumukonte ang stock and ano yung mga products na madami pa, so alam mo kung ano yung orderin at hindi mo na orderin. And lastly, yung storing and warehousing. Managing the materials before they go to manufacturing or customer fulfillment. This department is responsible for making sure items are placed in logical locations for fulfillment and the right storage conditions are met. So, nakapag-inventory na tayo, yung mga materials mo is, saan mo ba siya, bago siya makarating dun sa mga by production team, kailangan nakaayos yon. So, kung dun sa process na yon is you need flour, for example, tapos may mga water or liquid materials doon. So, kailangan mo siyang ilayo para hindi masira yung other materials mo. So, that ends the inbound logistics part. Next will be Gabriel Lomboy for the international purchasing and global outsourcing.
I am here to discuss international purchasing and global outsourcing. First, we must understand the difference between international and global. Global is referred as the entire world, while international indicates two or more nation. A nation is a group of people who share the same culture, history, language, or ethnicity. Purchasing refers to the activity involved in the acquisition of goods, raw materials, and services required by business to operate. Yung acquisition po, siya yung pagkuha o pagbili ng mga bagay, gaya po ng goods, raw materials, or services para mag-function po yung isang business. Tapos, tinutukoy naman po siyang international purchasing kapag binibili siya sa ibang bansa para suportahan o mapagana mo yung business mo. So these are the reasons po for the organizations to purchase internationally. First, changes in the business environment, insufficient domestic capacity, excellent quality, lower prices, better delivery, and access better technology. So sa global outsourcing naman po, tinutukoy din na outsourcing or business process outsourcing. It is the process of contracting the operation of a specific business process to a third-party provider to reduce workload and operational costs. Global outsourcing involves contracting with a company based in another country to manage certain business operations. Its primary objective is to maximize global efficiency such as lower cost skilled labor, lower cost raw materials, and other economic factors like tax break and low trade tariffs. So ang outsourcing po ay pagkuha po ng isang part ng trabaho o operation ng isang company sa isang company po para mabawasan yung excess na trabaho nila tsaka yung pag-operate nila sa mismong company nila. Ang global outsourcing naman po, as a whole, ay nag-indicate ng pagkuha ng trabaho o operation na galing sa ibang bansa, company sa ibang bansa para mapatakbo po yung business nyo. Example po nito yung mga BPO company po, mga call center, tech support sa Pilipinas. Kumukuha yung mga company gaya ni Google, ni Facebook galing sa US, tapos kumukuha sila sa Pilipinas for various reasons. Yung various reasons po, ito po yun, yung sa next. Ayan, reduce cost. Reduce cost po dahil sa ibang bansa, mababa ang rate ng pasahod compare sa domestic country nila. Isang reason po yan, gaya ng pagkuha ng Amerika sa Philippines. So, nakakakuha sila ng same skill set ng people o ng workers or more experienced worker pero mas mura po. Tapos next is tax incentives. Ay, pwede rin po palang yung sa reduce cost. Pwede rin po mababawasan yung cost ng raw materials at saka service. Gaya po ng pagkuha ng mga mobile companies sa China. Sila po yung bubuo tapos ibebenta naman nila dun sa company nila mismo. Sa tax incentives naman po, mostly na-attract nito yung mga ibang bansa or ina-attract ng mga bansa na to or governments from other country o sa country din po natin yung pagbibigay ng murang tax or discounts po para lumipat yung mga big company, yung mga large company sa country natin. Mostly third world countries po yung nag-o-offer nito. Next is new perspective. Sa new perspective po, gaya rin siya ng pagkuha ng workers na may magandang skill set or skills na nakukuha lang sa isang specific country o dahil wala po sa kanilang ganong skills na available. Next is expand quickly. Sa paggamit po ng global outsourcing, mas tataas yung production or service rate nila na with an affordable price po. Yung disadvantages naman po ng outsourcing, first is time zone differences. Kaya siya disadvantage dahil nga po international yung company na kinontrata nila. Iba rin yung oras ng trabaho, tsaka mahihirapan silang communicate. Isa na rin po dito yung language and cultural barriers. Dahil po magkaiba yung language or culture nila, may chance na hindi sila magkaintindihan based na rin po sa accents nila or may mga bagay po na inaccurate po sa ibang country. Next is physical distance. Yung physical distance naman po, dahil po malayo po, mas malaki yung shipping cost compare sa shipping cost kung domestically lang po yung process or service po na in-inquire nila or kinontract nila. Sa rules and regulations naman po, kaya po siya disadvantage dahil ibang bansa yung pinagkontratahan nila, dapat sundin din nila yung mga laws o batas doon sa bansa na pinili nila. Yun lang po. For the next presenter, si Kyle Makaraig po.
So ang topic ko po ngayon is about Incoterms. So ang Incoterms po ay short for International Commercial Terms. So Incoterms are a set of three-letter abbreviated trade terms established by the ICC or the International Chamber of Commerce. So Incoterms can be described by 4 points: the shipping and freight costs, point of delivery, import and export regulations, and insurance cover. So there are 11 Incoterms. Back then, there were 13, but the ICC revised it during last 2010 to bring it down to 11 Incoterms. So ito po yung mga Incoterms natin para sa mga trade terms natin. Yung first 7 po na Incoterms, simula sa ex-works hanggang delivery duty paid, DDP, applicable po dito is any mode of transport by air, railroad, sea, or kahit local lang. So yung last 4 naman, yung free alongside ship hanggang CIF cost or CIF is applicable siya through sea lang, sea or inland waterways. So start po tayo sa ex-works. Yung ex-works po or EXW, ang term po na to ay sinasabi na yung seller, ina-arrange niya yung goods na i-deliver, ipapack up niya, packaging, then yun lang po ang responsibility ng seller. Lahat po ng cost for transportation, risk, responsibility ng package is nasa buyer na po. Yun po yung sinasabi pag sinabing ex-works. So sa ex-works po, seller bears little cost and responsibility lang. So next natin is free carrier. Sa free carrier naman po, ang seller ina-arrange niya ang delivery ng goods papunta sa carrier ng buyer. After ng point na yun is si buyer na ang may responsibility sa cost at saka sa package or goods. Kung mapapansin po natin, yung apat na letter F nagsa-start, FCA, FAS, FOB, ay tatlo na pa. Ang ano dito, ang concept nila is si seller, siya ang nag-arrange ng goods, deliver sa carrier. After nun, buyer na po ang may responsibility. Halos same sila na ganong point. Then next tayo is carriage paid to or CPT. So itong term naman po, itong term na CPT, ini-indicate na si seller ay magbabayad sa cost for transport sa product papunta kay carrier. Tapos nun, seller bears all costs and responsibility to the destination port. Then yung risk ng product is matatransfer sa buyers once the goods are loaded on the means of transport. Next po natin is CIP, Carriage and Insurance Paid to. Yung CIP po is almost same lang ng CPT. Ang nadagdag lang po sa CIP is yung insurance ng product. Sa CPT po kasi, walang insurance. Sabihin natin may na-damage na goods, walang insurance. So, sa CIP po, pwede po mag-agree yung dalawang party, yung import and export. Mag-agree po sila kung sinong magbabayad ng insurance. Next is delivered at terminal or saka delivered at place. Start po tayo sa delivered at place. Yung delivered at place po, pwede rin siya tawagin na door-to-door. Si seller lahat may responsibility sa product. Si seller din ang magbabayad ng cost for transportation. At si seller din ang may bahala kung may mangyari man sa product or goods. Sa terminal naman po, delivered at terminal, this term compels the seller to deliver the goods to the buyer at a specified terminal lang and unload the goods for the buyer. Yun lang po yung sa delivered at terminal. Next, delivered duty paid. So sa delivered duty paid, the seller agrees to take full responsibility, risk, saka cost associated with the transportation of goods papunta doon sa designation na sinabi ni buyer. So proceed tayo sa free alongside ship. Yung FAS naman po, sa FAS, kagaya nga ng sinabi ko kanina, si seller ang may bayad, magbabayad at responsible dun sa product papunta dun sa terminal. Then after ma-deliver ng carrier yung product papunta sa port, si buyer na po ang responsible para doon. Ang sinasabi lang sa free alongside ship is the seller delivers the goods to a designated port next to a specific vessel lang. Para pagtapos ma-deliver ng product ni seller papunta doon sa ship na inassign ni buyer, mapupunta na yung risk and responsibility kay buyer. Next is free on board or FOB. Dito naman, seller is responsible for all the costs, responsibilities, and clearing the goods for export. Until the goods have crossed the ship rail at the original port, buyer then takes all costs, responsibility, and risk after that point. Next, cost and freight, saka yung insurance and freight. Kagaya nung kanina sa carriage pay to, CPT, saka CIP, ang pagkakaiba lang din netong dalawang to is yung sa insurance. So yung CFR, cost and freight, the seller arranges for the carrier of goods by sea or inland waterways to a named destination. So insurance in case of loss or damage of goods is attained by the buyer dito. So ito po, papakita ko yung chart. Ito pong table na to is pinapakita kung sa charges or fees na kung sinong magbabayad para sa specific, kunyari sa packaging, loading charges. Ito po ay charges and fees lang. May ibang table pa po para sa risk and responsibility. Or sa, tama. May kita din dito yung CIF pati CIP. Doon lang merong insurance. So, yun lang po sa Incoterms. Next po natin is si Mark Lloyd Macaranas po.
Ayan na agad yung next.
Yan.
So ayun, kung napapansin nyo po yung topic namin is all about trading. So sa trading, meron tayong two parties na na-involved, which is the buyer and the seller. So si buyer, siya yung importer, and si seller, siya yung exporter. So bakit tayo, so sa isang trading, syempre may involved na pera. So kaya dito papasok si documentary credits. Okay, so sabi nga dito, documentary credits is a method of payment that protects both the seller and the buyer in a contract of sale. So, sa isang trading, hindi naman pwedeng pagka-receive mo ng item is magbabayad ka ng cash on hand. Hindi naman siya yung delivery na katulad ng sa Shopee, sa Lazada, na pwede kang magbayad ng cash on hand sa payment sa dineliver sa iyo. So, when we talk about trading, hindi it's all about large quantity of goods. So malalaki yung maraming quantity ang binabay natin dito. So hindi lang to yung mga 1,000 pesos. So aabot to ng malaking transaction. So kaya tayo may documentary credits na tinatawag para magkaroon ng uh, safe transaction for seller and the importer. So ano nga ba bakit kailangan nga ba natin ng documentary credits? So kasi when it comes to export trading, hindi natin maiiwasan na may mga risk tayong may encounter. So ang purpose ni documentary credits is mapigilan yung mga risk na possible nating ma-encounter. So sabi nga dito, documentary credits helps your company to hedge against the risk related to export trading. So ano-ano ba yung mga possible risk na pwedeng ma-encounter natin when it comes to trading? So, first example is halimbawa ikaw yung trader. Paano pag may damage yung product na in-export? Next is yung mga unforeseen tariffs. So, yung tariffs kaya siya naging risk kasi ini-increase niya yung price sa importer, which is yung buyer. So, kapag nag-increase yung price nung sa buyer, possible na kapag binenta niya yun is hindi possible na hindi mabenta gawa ng syempre mas pipiliin ng consumer yung mas mura. So, pwedeng malugi yung importer. So kailangan mapansin din yung mga tariffs na yon. Then another scenario is halimbawa nakapagbayad ka na ng payment plan, then dumating na yung shipment, hindi naman natin masasabi kung minsan nagkakaroon ng fluctuation sa exchange and interest rate. So hindi natin masasabi kung kailan mangyayari yon. So what if nangyari yon? Then worst scenario is syempre pag ganun, hindi na papayag kumbaga para refuse na magbayad yung customer sa iyo. Gawa ng parang hindi na nila kasi mabebenta yan kasi nagtaas yung rate or nag-fluctuate yung price niya sa market. So, yun yung mga risk na pwedeng ma-encounter natin sa isang trading. So, kaya tayo may tinatawag na documentary credits para maiwasan ang mga ganong factors. So, sa documentary credits, parang sabi ko nga sa mode of payment. So, sa mode of payment, saan ba tayo usually pwedeng magpasok ng malalaking pera sa mga bangko? So, sa documentary credits, malaking factor dito ang bangko. So, we have different types of documentary credits. Asan? Ayun. Next na tayo. So, the first one is the irrevocable documentary credits. So, ito yung type ng documentary credits na kumbaga hindi na pwedeng bawiin. Kumbaga wala nang bawian kapag kapag nag-input kang nag-apply ka ng documentary credits na to. Kumbaga pag nag-issue yung bangko at nagkaroon ng pledging or ng OT na ganito nga yung transaction, hindi na siya pwedeng bawi. So pwede lang siya if or ma-revoke kapag nagkaroon ng agreement yung both beneficiaries, yung buyer and seller sa loob ng bangko. So, bakit kailangan na sa bangko? Kasi sila yung mag-i-issue ng documentary credits. So, yun yung tinatawag nating irrevocable. Next is yung confirmed documentary credit. So, dito naman yung parang transaction through bank ang nangyayari. Kaso importer is doon mag-i-issue ng bayad sa bangko. Then, magkakaroon ng tinatawag confirmed bank yung mag-i-issue ng sa exporter ng bayad. Kumbaga parang sa halip na ah, sa halip na from tawag dito from sa halip na from bank tapos direct na sa exporter, kumbaga magkakaroon pa ng confirmation sa ibang bank na yun ang mag-export ng bayad. Kumbaga yun yung magbibigay ng bayad sa exporter. So yung confirmation na tinatawag is ito yung nire-request ng seller na na-receive na yung goods. Okay. Next po is yung silent confirmation. So dito naman sa silent confirmation, ito yung pribadong transaction or yung arrangement between the advising bank at yung beneficiary or exporter. Kumbaga, hindi na nila need ba dumaan sa issuing bank katulad kanina na kasi may possible na magtagal pa. So dito parang ano na, parang ano na yung pag-settle nila kapag nag-hire sila ng private bank, ganun. Then, syempre, kapag meron tayong private arrangement between the bank and the beneficiaries, meron tayong babayaran. So, may mga additional fees tayo na babayaran. Yun, ganun. Next is revolving. So, eto naman. Syempre, kapag nagkaroon na tayo ng transaction, halimbawa sa transaction, tapos paulit-ulit na lang yung tinatransact, tapos paulit-ulit din yung mode of payment sa bank. Syempre, parang iisip ngayon yung bangko ng parang iisip yung bangko ng parang mode of issuance nila na para malis yung hassle sa work nila, kumbaga mas mapapadali. Dito papasok si revolving. So kapag paulit-ulit na yung purchasing between two parties, lalo na kung same goods and quantity lang naman ang in-order, so para ma-lessen yung work is nire-revolve na lang nila yung process for the next following months. Yun nga, katulad nga, normal circumstances, it is useful around this is to utilize a revolving credit para mas lessen nga kung para sa magta-transact. Then next is we have the red and green clause. Ano ba yung clause na tinatawag? So pag sinabing clause kasi ito yung separation of article. So sa red and green clause, ina-allows nito na yung seller to draw on the credit prior to shipment of goods and presentation of documents. So ito mga separation of articles ng documentary credits, usually na nira-write sila in red or green ink. So each ink, mayroon siyang kaakibat na meaning. So the first one is yung unsecured or clean red clause na tinatawag. So ito is, ang ibig sabihin nito is yung mga required documents ay hindi na include dun sa evidence of goods. Kumbaga parang, kumbaga yung sa evidence of goods, hindi nalagay dun yung mga required documents. Then, next is yung secured or documentary red clause na tinatawag. So, ito naman kapag yung meron tayong advances na made against presentation of warehouse, receipts, or similar documents together with seller's undertaking to deliver the bill of lading and other required documents upon shipping. Yun. Next is the green clause. Green clause means which allows the advance payment but provide for the storage of the goods in the name of the bank as a security. So dito naman parang ina-allow niya yung advance payment through documentary credits pero for providing of the goods lang. Siyempre sa pangalan ng bangko para ma-ensure yung safety nung magta-transact. The next is transferable. Sa transferable naman, ito yung types ng credit na ina-allow yung seller or yung importer or yung exporter na tinatawag to transfer the credit, yung credit kumbaga yung payment fully or partially sa ibang parties or sa or sa other beneficiaries. So bago payagan na ma-transfer 'yon, merong ang tawag doon, dapat yung credit is clearly state, kumbaga yung in-apply na documentary credits is naka-state doon na siya ay transferable para payagan na matransfer ng bangko. So, syempre, pag may mga ganong aspects ng pagbabayad, meron tayong mga charges kagaya ng commissions, fees, cost, or expenses na dapat ding bayaran ng beneficiary. Next is yung back-to-back. So, sa back documentary credits naman, nangyayari pag yung halimbawa is yung trader, siya na rin yung gumaganap as middleman. Kumbaga siya na rin yung naging source between supplier at saka yung sa final buyer. So kapag ganito yung instances, nahahati sa dalawa yung documentary credits. The first one is yung master credit and the second one is yung back-to-back credits na tinatawag. So sa master credit, parang favorable yung credits na yun sa middleman, dun sa trader. Then yung back-to-back credits naman, favorable yung credits na yun sa source supplier, dun sa nagsusupply. Next is yung standby letter of credit. So, nawala ako. So, sa standby letter of credits, ang tawag dito, kumbaga parang similar lang siya sa medyo similar siya sa majority sa tinatawag. Kumbaga, nire-represent niya yung secondary obligation as a default, providing security against non-performance as opposed performance, performance ng isang documentary. So, ayun, yun lang. The next is yung 7 points to contain documentary credits. Ano nga ba yung dapat na nilalaman ng documentary credits? Ayun. So, the first one is the promise to pay. Siyempre nga tayo mag-documentary para ma-ensure na magbabayad yung katrans natin. So, yung promise to pay is para ma-oblige yung party na magbayad, lalo na kapag nakalob, kasi nakapalob yun sa documentary credit. So, talagang ma-oblige. Kaya kailangan na kasama sa nakapalob sa documentary credits yung promise to pay. Next is yung, ang tawag dito? Hindi ko mababa. Payment of payment payment obligation payment obligation substitution. So sa payment obligation substitution, dito papasok yung parang tawag dun, parang tawag dito, parang wait lang, nalito ako. So parang ito nga yung parang 'di ba sa DCP sa documentary credits natin na payment method, siyempre kailangan nating magkaroon ng isang payment obligation substitution, which is normally naman siyang ginagawa ng mga applicant para ma-transfer and ng mga issuing bank. So kaya kailangan siya sa documentary credits. Next is yung complying presentation. So sa complying presentation naman, syempre yung beneficiary is obliged to comply presentation para ma-acquire nila yung payment. So kapag mayroon ka complying presentation, need ng beneficiary na ma-comply yung mga yon para ma-receive nila yung bayad. Then next is yung payment tenure. So sa payment tenure naman, ito yung content na kung saan ina-explain niya yung terms of payment na available. Kumbaga, ano yung mga mode of payment na pwedeng gawin. So ayun nga, documentary credits payment can be divided into two. Ito yung slight basis cite this as documentary credits, and next is yung site basis as site documentary credits that is payable as soon as the required documents have been presented. Kumbaga na-comply na yung na-comply na yung presentation. Then next is yung sa parties. So sa parties naman, meron tayong yung payment method using documentary credits is dito may involve yung several parties such as yung mga applicants, mga beneficiaries, insurance company, ano ba, transportation and shipping company, bank, ano ba, issuing bank, advising bank, mga other types of bank, confirming bank, etc. Kaya yun yung mga parties na may involve kaya kailangan yung laman sa documentary credits. Next is syempre yung time. So syempre kapag nagpapa-issue tayo ng documentary credits, so importante na meron tayong date na kung kailan in-issue yun. Second is yung expiry date kung hanggang kailan expiration date or hanggang kailan lang yung lifespan ng ano na yun ng pagbabayad na yun. Then yun nga latest shipment date tsaka yung latest presentation din latest presentation date. So last one, usually kapag may mga transaction, syempre nababasa na natin terms and condition kung agree ba yung mag-a-apply for transaction for documentary credits, kung agree ba sila sa mga rules and regulations sa mga policies na pinapatupad ng bangko. Ayun lang po. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to Ada, Gab, Kyle, and Mark Lloyd. No? So, actually, I commend the last two. Actually, lahat naman is walang tapon no, sa presentation. No? But then, dun sa technicality kasi ng last two topics, the Incoterms and the documentary credits is some very interesting kasi it provided us the insights no when we are going parang yung dating ba sa atin ay pag napapunta tayo dun sa aspeto na yon ng isang organization, especially the logistics side. No? So, papasok lahat kaya tinatawag na inbound logistics. So, it's the accepting of orders so from your from the suppliers itself na papasok sa atin. No? So, yun, the opposite of it, the outbound logistics, no? Edi yun na yung paalis naman sa ating organization. No? And then, parang, so since medyo konti na kasi yung time, so we're trying to accommodate the last set of presenters for today. No? So, additional lang dun sa Incoterms, no? Kasi to 2020 kasi yung nabanggit ni Kyle. Tama ba, Kyle? So, 2020, oh. But then, meron na kasing updated no, na 2021 terms. So, may mga replacement lang of terminologies. Like, for example, if in 2020, so sabi kasi, di ba, is dalawa yung CIF at CIP, no, yun yung may insurance factor. No? And then, for Incoterms 2021, so halos ang nabago natin dito is yung nawala. So now, may mga nabago kasi na ano eh, na may mga terminologies na ilan na nabago no or kaya may mga merging no? So but anyways no so ayun nawala yung aking ano yung link dito. So kumbaga is just in-standardize lang natin no. When we are on this type of trading kasi yung sa Incoterms kasi ay kumbaga in-standardize lang natin yung terminologies na pag sinabing ganito ibig sabihin understood na natin na yun yung magiging mode of trading na gagamitin. No? So ano yung risk on the part of the organization. No? So and then on the costing itself at the same time no so who will be the responsible no is it the seller or the buyer with regards to cost and risk, and then also the insurance is a concern no in this Incoterms. And then pagdating naman dun sa documentary credits naman ganun din isa na is actually an overview no of what these documentary credits would look like no so ayun nabanggit naman ni Mike Lloyd no sa last part niya yung parts nito so and then also the types of the documentary credits so medyo technically mahirap siyang i-discuss no mahirap siya kasi somehow we are looking for the resources for this no but then you can actually put your resources so in your PowerPoint meron naman ata sa inyong ayun meron naman sa sa module na binigay no pero Kasi nakalagay dito is the types itself, na, pero may mga discussions kayo na in-insert no, sa bawat types. No? And then at the same time, no, so ano ba yung mga contents or what are the possible entries, no? So inside that particular documentary credit. So thank you very much for this group. No? So let us now proceed with the last presentation. So uh, this is this will be presented by Lorraine Naveno and JP Maritoni and Venus Olpato. So you can now share the screen with your classmates. Thank you.
Okay na,
Good
JP?
morning. Kita na?
Oo, okay na.
Okay, sige, wait lang. Start ko na.
So, good afternoon, everyone. So, we will discuss the strategic inventory. Next. So, strategic inventory is a methodology to follow every day for ordering, maintaining, and processing item in the warehouse. Inventory management is simple for a small businesses, but as the operation and business grows, it will need a more solid strategy. So there are 7 steps we'll discuss to develop a strategic inventory. So first one is decide on a location where the merchandise will be stored and processes. It is important to choose the location where the inventory takes place that can easily receive, pack, and send as needed. Also, organized and well-labeled inventory helps to determine materials or product where the locations and the product location easily and efficient. So, for example, Amazon, yung isa sa pinaka-successful na e-commerce. So, yung Amazon warehouse, as of now, nag-adapt na sila sa technology. So, man and robots ang gumagana na dun sa Amazon warehouse. So, each stall, meron silang nakalabel yon, then may barcode na kasama. So, para easily malocate nila kung nasaan yung item sa warehouse. Then, it will be picked by the worker and scanned before to put in the slime line. Yung slime line, doon na pupunta yung item. Then, nagta-travel siya through conveyor. Then, may malaki silang machine to scan yung item and then lalagyan nila ng delivery information yung item na yon. Kung mas mababa siya dun sa desired weight ng item na yon, it will put in that to the side of conveyor to check by the associate. Then after that, kung okay naman yung weight ng item, saka siya ipapack ng worker, then saka na siya i-deliver sa customer. So next is invest in inventory management software. Companies, especially to those businesses that have a larger inventory, has a different software for inventory management to determine the buying patterns of the consumer and which item are selling frequently, as well as when we'll order the items. Businesses have different inventory software. It will depend on their needs and preferences. 3 is establish a vendor agreement for suppliers. It is it is important to have agreement with the suppliers and the company for any instances like failure to meet the order or delay in schedule that the suppliers has to comply. The company has the right to have a penalty or safety plan. Also, return policies with the supplier should be discussed if a product is not selling well for refund or credit against other products. Fourth is set a reorder point for ordering new inventory. This is based on the historical demand of the product. It is necessary to replace the sold items immediately before any stock outs or out of stocks and determine the lead time. Yung lead time is yung time kung kailan madi-deliver yung product sa'yo. So, importante na malaman mo yon para um, ma-determine mo or masukat mo kung kailan ba magkakaroon ng stock yung inventory mo. Then, fifth is increase the inventory turnover. It is the amount of time it takes to sell out of all the goods in a specific period of time. So, the more efficient your activities are, the higher this figure should be. If the product is not doing well, working with the supplier to cut prices and focusing on high demand products must do. So, six is establish a clear-cut mechanism for getting rid of surplus or unsold inventory. For the inventory that is not sold or exceed in the demand, product would be disposed of, given away, or discounted, or used in the business for example, every Christmas, yung SM department store, nagsisale sila ng mga t-shirt. So, minsan, buy one, take one, or discounts. Yung halimbawa, 300 pesos yung t-shirt, nagiging 150. So, yun yung way nila para mabenta yung mga t-shirt na hindi naman natitira dun sa inventory nila. So, in the next year, magbabago na ulit sila ng mga stocks ng mga t-shirt. So, lastly, incorporate the inventory strategy into your business plan and make it part of the overall policy. Establishing inventory strategy should be communicated to all the departments and personnels that involved in the inventory. Make make it part of the business plan and the overall policy of the business. So the next reporter will discuss the definition of inventory.
Next is the definition of inventory. So inventory is a stock or store of goods and services or kept for use or sale in the future. So halos kahit saan naman may inventory sa warehouse, sa retail store, or kahit sa bahay natin sa pantry, ganun. So under ng inventory are raw materials. Ito yung materials na kailangan natin para makabuo ng goods or product. Next is work in process, meaning in the process of being made. Lastly is finished goods. Ito yung mga ready to sold na. As long as hindi nabebenta yung or nasosold yung yon ay part pa rin siya ng inventory. Mahalaga yung inventory kasi para malaman natin kung gaano kadami yung stock natin at kung kailan tayo o-order. Para ma-provide natin or ma-maintain natin yung customer service at para smooth yung flow of goods na kailangan natin sa production process. Next is functions of inventory. These functions or priority is considered in decision-making process. First po is to meet anticipated customer demand, or these inventories are referred to as anticipation stocks because they are held satisfy planned or expected demand. So for example po is sa isang baker po, so usually may product po siya ng cake, then di naman po natin alam kung this month is marami pa lang magbe-birthday or maraming o-order sa kanya. So, kailangan may enough tayo na stock or inventory para ma-meet natin yung customer demand at makapag-serve tayo sa mga customers. Next is to smooth production requirements or create seasonal inventories to meet seasonal demand. For example po ngayong malapit na yung Christmas, So, yung production po ng Christmas tree, Christmas lights is nagda-double po sila ng mga stocks po nila kasi alam po nila na seasonal, ay, alam po nila na in demand po siya ngayong season. Next po is to decouple operations or eliminate sources of disruptions. So, dito po is kailangan maging tuloy-tuloy yung flow ng production. Next po is to protect against stockouts or hold safety stocks to prevent the risk of shortages. So, dito naman po example is kaya po doon sa pinag-workan ko dati sa coffee shop po, parang every mag-out ka ng duty mo is kailangan mo magbilang ka ng stocks para malaman mo kung, for example, yung coffee bean, which is pinaka-importante po sa isang coffee shop, na malalaman mo kung yung coffee bean pala is hindi na siya aabot bukas. So, importante po na malaman para ma-report agad sa manager at maka-order agad para may ma-serve po kinabukasan. The next is to take advantage of order cycle, buy more quantities than immediate requirements. So dito naman po is yung pag-order po ng large orders or bulk orders po ng mga kailangan niya sa inventory po. Kasi gaya po sa pag-grocery po, parang mas okay po na madamihan na po yung bibilhin nyo kaysa yung kung kailan nyo lang po kailangan. Tsaka pa lang kayo bibili sa sari-sari store, which is mas makakamahal po kayo sa mga tingi-tingi. Next po is to hedge against price increase. Purchase large order to help future price increase or implemented volume discount. So, parang tulad na po siya sinabi ko kanina. Then, lastly po is to permit operations. Production operations take a certain amount of time, means that there will generally be some work in process in inventory. So, dito naman po, for example, sa pastry po sa mga coffee shop. For example, usually po kasi ini-stock siya sa freezer. Pero from freezer, hindi mo naman po pwede na i-diretso siya i-serve sa customer. From freezer, kailangan pa siya ilabas at ito for 30 minutes. So, kailangan maging aware din sa enough stock na pwede na agad i-serve sa customer. So, yun lang po yung lahat ng functions na kailangan i-consider in decision-making process in inventory po. Next po is
Good afternoon po. As stated lately, inventory is a big factor for small and large manufacturers that help them address demand and supply, market volatilities and uncertainties. Pero, kahit na ang inventory ay ang function niya is protektahan yung manufacturers against sharp market fluctuations, it can also result in high cost. Before I discuss about the types of inventory costs, again, we first have to know the types of inventory. Beginning with the types of inventory regarding the process through which products are manufactured or stored, the first is input inventory. It is when product is perceived and sitting within the beginning of the process prior to any kind of utilization or transformation stage. Example po nito is kapag dumating ang product from suppliers and binagsak lang siya and in-store dun sa firm nang hindi pa nagagamit, tinatawag siyang input inventory. While if it is in the midst of activities inside the process, we call it in-process inventory, commonly known as WIP or WIP, work in progress. So example po ng WIP is, for example, isang company nagbebenta ng bag of coffee. Ang WIP po ng inventory ay including nun ay bags, labels, coffee beans, and shipping boxes. These are raw materials na combined sa direct labor pero hindi pa ready na maibenta sa market. Lastly is output inventory. These are items that have been completed but have not left the barrier of the process, which means haven't shipped out of the process to the next phase. Next is now let's talk about the inventory cost. Inventory costs include the cost of ordering and storing inventory, as well as the cost of managing the associated documentation. Management considers this expense when determining how much inventory to keep on hand. Inventory management is one of the most crucial aspects of all business, just like cash flow. It can make or break your business. So the types of inventory cost. Ordering cost. Ordering costs include payroll taxes, benefits and wages of the procurement department, labor costs, and etc. These costs are typically included in an overhead cost pool and allocated to the number of units produced in each period. Um, it is an ordering cost is a fixed cost which is independent from any other variables related to quantity or handling. So pag sinabi nating fixed cost refers to cost that does not change whether tumataas o bumababa yung number of goods. What it means is that basically we have to pay transportation, administrative cost, and labor. It's under ordering cost. Next type of inventory cost is inventory holding cost. This is simply the amount of rent a business pays for the storage area where they hold the inventory. This can be either the direct rent to the company pays for all the warehouses put together or a percentage of the total rent of the office area utilized for storing inventory. It comprises all of aspects when it comes to storing. Example po ng inventory holding cost ay inventory service cost, inventory risk cost, opportunity cost. These are the money invested in inventory, such as insurance, bills like electricity. When it comes to storage naman, storage-based cost naman, involved naman po dun yung rent. Next type of inventory is shortage cost. Shortage cost, also known as stock out cost, occurs when business become out of stock for various reasons. It is the risk of running out of stocks because stocks that may cause a loss in terms of sales. These costs also called stock outs. It occurs when business became out of stock for whatever reason. Example of these costs are disrupted production. So the disrupted production, when business involves producing as well as selling them, a shortage in the product means the business will have to pay for things like idle workers and factory overhead, even when nothing is being produced. Next is the emergency shipments. Um, as retailers, emergency shipments are stock out that mean paying extra to get a shipment on time or changing suppliers. And the last inventory cost is spoilage cost. Perishable inventory stock can rot or spoil if not sold in time. So controlling inventory to prevent spoilage is essential. Products that expire are a concern for many industries. Industries such as food and beverages, pharmaceutical and healthcare, and cosmetic industries are affected by the expiration and use by dates of their products. Um, Sabi dito, perishable inventory stocks can rot or spoil if they're not sold in time. Since we invest at gumagastos sa pagbuo ng certain product, um, from raw materials to finished products, once nasira yung product, considered na natin siyang cost kasi nababawas sa inventory pero wala namang sale at kailangan gumawa ulit ng panibago. And inventory models will be um, discussed by Miss Olfato.
So inventory models is the is a mathematical model that helps business in determining the optimum level of inventories that should be maintained in a production process, managing frequency of ordering, deciding on quantity of goods or raw materials to be stored, tracking flow of supply of raw materials and goods to provide uninterrupted service to customers without any delay in delivery. So the first inventory model is the economic order quantity or the EOQ. It is a careful rational drives the best e-commerce traders and retail operators to avoid stockouts. So using deterministic inventory management models such as EOQ will help business process an optimal request amount that keeps stock cost to a minimum. So yung EOQ is the size of order for which total of ordering cost and carrying costs are minimum. So ginagamit siya to identify the order size that will minimize the sum of the annual cost of holding inventory and ordering inventory. When we say EOQ, it is a quantity that you order. So EOQ model seeks to ensure that the right amount of inventory is ordered per batch. So a company does not have to make orders too frequently and there is not an excess of inventory sitting on hand. So, ang objective ng EOQ model is to determine an optimum economic order quantity such that the total inventory cost is minimized. So, the formula in solving the economic order quantity is the square root of 2 ds over h where EOQ stands for economic order quantity, the D is the annual demand in units, S is the ordering cost, and H is the inventory holding cost unit per year. So let's have an example problem about EOQ. So Anne's Korean store stocks kimchi, which is the best seller among the items in her shop. The annual demand is 4,800 units. The ordering cost is $12. The inventory holding cost is $3 per unit per year. So what is the economic order quantity? As I have mentioned earlier, the formula in getting the economic order quantity, we just have to multiply 2 to the annual demand, which is 4,800 unit, times the ordering cost, which is $12, over the inventory holding cost, which is $3 per unit per year. So the EOQ in this problem is 196.
Now, let's discuss the EPQ. Economic production quantity or EPQ is also known as production order quantity. Um, economic production quantity is the economic production quantity is the optimal order quantity that a business should place with the supplier or move through their production facilities to minimize inventory expenses while leveraging the best manufacturing line pricing. So in short, it is the optimum lot size that is to be manufactured in a production unit to avoid unnecessary blockage of funds and excess in storage costs. So our formula for getting the economic production quantity is Q is equals to 2 times D times S over H multiplied to square root of P over P minus U, where EPQ stands for economic production quantity, D is the annual demand in units, S is the ordering cost, H stands for inventory holding cost unit per year, P is the production rate, and U is the usage rate. Here's an problem concerning APQ. Example, the stores sells 35,000 decorated t-shirts per year. The silk screen shops across the street applies the decorations and delivers them to the store as they are finished at the rate of 500 per day. Carrying cost is $2 per shirt a year. Setup cost for a production run of the decorated t-shirts is $56. The store operates 100 days per year. Determine the economic production quantity. So from the previous slide, our formula is Q equals to 2 multiplied to the annual demand in units, then again multiplied to ordering cost um, over inventory holding cost unit per year. Then again will be multiplied to square root of production rate over production rate minus usage rate. So ang given natin dito sa problem is D is equals to 35,000, which is the number of decorated t-shirts per year, and S, which is our ordering cost na nag-amount to $56 because the setup cost for production run of the decorated t-shirts. And the inventory holding cost unit per year, H, is costing $2, which is the carrying cost per shirt a year. Our production rate is 500 per day. So 500 per day since ito ang rate of production na natatapos per day. Stated dito. And U, value ng U natin, which is the usage rate, is nanggaling siya sa 35,000 divided by 300 days per year. So, dito, ang para makuha yung EPQ, multiply natin. So, 2 times 35,000 times 56 over 2 times square root of 500 over 500 minus 117 is equivalent to 1,599.60 or 1,600. So the next slide will be discussed by Ms. Lorraine Noveno.
So next is the ABC analysis. ABC analysis is a system of inventory classification that separates product into different categories based on priority and value. This system enables manager to easily identify important data so they can react to trends and make merchandising adjustment more intuitively. The most important items are designated as A products. The second most value items are category B, and the category C consists of low priority goods. So next is example of ABC analysis. Next po. So ito po yung example. First step po is gather all inventory data. So sa example po na ito, ang available po na data is yung item, annual demand, and unit cost po. Then, second step is find the total value of each item. Para makuha po natin yung total value or yung value ng each item, kailangan natin i-multiply yung annual demand sa unit cost. For example, sa item W1, 3,000 yung annual demand niya times unit cost na 50. At ang sagot sa value is $150,000. At ganun din yung gagawin sa lahat ng items na available. The next step is calculate the total value of your inventory. Para makuha to is kukunin natin yung summation ng value natin sa lahat ng item. So, ang sagot is $278,800. The next step, step 4, calculate the percentage of value each inventory items offer. So, kukunin naman natin ngayon yung percentage ng each item. Para masolve yung percentage, i-divide natin yung value ng item W1 sa total value, which is 278,800. At makukuha natin is 53.80%. At ganun din yung gagawin sa ibang items. So, next step at last step. Next po. Ayan. So, last step is, i-classify na natin yung ABC inventory. So dito, gagawin muna natin is i-arrange natin siya sa descending order or highest to lowest na percentage. Kaya na-arrange na natin siya dito. Then, para makuha natin yung then ayan, yung A items can account up to 70 to 80%. So dito, yung item W1 at W2, pag pinagsama natin siya, makakakuha tayo ng 71.02%, which is pasok na siya dun sa kaya i-account ng item A. Then, pag sinama pa natin yung 14.99, lalampas na tayo sa kayang i-account ng category natin, category A. Kaya hanggang dun lang siya sa item 2. Then, dun naman sa, pag pinagsama natin yung item W3 at W5 at item W3, makakuha tayo ng 24.68%, which is ang kaya i-account ng category B is 15 to 25%. So, hanggang 25% lang yung kaya niya i-account. So, tumigil na tayo sa pang-apat na item. Then lastly, yung category C can accounts up to 5% only. So, yung last item is 4.3. So, doon na pumasok yung category 3. Hindi ko na po siya nalagyan kung anong category. So, ayun po. Next po is
So the next is the other inventory management model. So first is the fixed or reorder quantity system, which indicates if the inventory level goes below a fixed quantity and needs to place an order to renew the inventory to an optimal level depending on the interest. So the first formula is average lead time is equals to average demand multiplied by the average lead time. So where average demand is the average number of requests made each day, average lead time is the amount of time required to create a piece of product or an item. Average lead time demand is the average number of requests mentioned during the lead time. So may example kami later on para mas maintindihan natin kung ano yung mga formula. Next. The next formula is the reorder level is equals to the sum of safety stocks and average lead time demand. Where safety stock is kung saan halimbawa ay meron akong inventory na 400 items, then dadagdagan ko siya ng 100 items para sa safety stocks in case na mag-increase yung demand ay hindi hihinto yung operation siya namin. Next is reorder level is the degree of reordering is determined by a firm's work order lead time, demand during that time, and whether or not the company keeps a safety stock. Next. Next. The next formula is the maximum level equals to the sum of safety stocks and order quantity, where order quantity is a demand that should be conveyed to the client. Minimum level at any rate, safety stock must be constantly kept up to stay away from any future stock outs according to Standard Act of Stock of Administration. Then maximum level formula is maximum level equals to the minimum level is equals to safety stocks. Next. So, ito po yung example natin. So, the order quantity of a product is 600 units. So, 600 units, ito yung nag-demand. The safety stocks is 200 units. Parang pasobra na inventory. ng management. The average leave time is 5 days. Yung average leave time, katulad na sinabi ko kanina, yung order bago dumating sa inventory or sa warehouse. And then the average consumption per day is 40 units. So order quantity, 600 units, safety stocks, 200 units, average lead time, 5 days, average demand is 40 units. So para makuha natin yung average lead time, demand times lead time. So, um, 40 units times 5 days. So, meron tayong for 200 units. So, sa reorder level naman, yung safety stocks, yung pasobra, 200 units plus yung average lead time, which is 200 units, which yields 400 units. Then, sa minimum level naman, yung safety stocks natin is 200 units. Then, sa maximum level is yung safety stocks plus order quantity, uh, 200 units plus 600 units at the 800 units. Yung maximum level natin. Next. So, the fixed reorder period system is where orders are periodically placed but the order quantity is different every time. So, ang formula natin is order quantity is equals to maximum level minus order quantity, where regular intervals is defined time stretch at the end of which inventories are appraised and order are raised to renew inventory. Inventory on hand is the inventory level measured at any given point of time. Maximum level is the amount of inventory authorized by the production rules. Order quantity, inventory is audited at regular intervals. Inventory on hand, it is noted at the time survey and request amount is put for an amount of M minus LT. Wala pong example para dito. So, the next reporter will discuss the discount.
So, short-term discounting leads to high lot size and cycle inventory because of strong forward buying. So, when we say lot size, ito yung quantity ng item na pinurchase for delivery on a given date. In other terms, it refers to the entire amount na isang product na in-order for manufacture. Pag sinabi naman natin na cycle inventory, ay yung mga products, materials, or raw ingredients na kinikip ng companies para ma-fulfill yung minimum production cost nila. So, a cycle inventory in supply chain is nakakaapekto sa companies along the chain dahil may direct impact ito sa mga items na meron sila on hand, and it also affects the company's capacity para ma-fulfill yung orders. Next is the trade promotion. So, it refers to retail marketing operations done by two partners. It is a marketing tactic that uses special pricing, displays, fixtures, demonstration, and other methods to increase demand for item in retail establishment. Sa trade promotion, dito yung nag-o-offer yung manufacturer ng discounted price sa mga retailers na kung saan yung discounted na price for a certain product ay limited lang for a period of time. So, ginagawa ng mga manufacturer para mag-increase yung sales na kanilang product within those channels and sa mga consumers. Yung manufacturers, ginagamit yung trade promotions para mag-offer sila ng discounted price to retailers and set a time period kung hanggang saan lang effective yung discount. So, for example, yung manufacturer ng canned sardines ay nag-offer ng price discount about 15% for the shipping period of December 1 to January 10. So, sa lahat na magpo-purchase ng canned sardines within this specific time horizon, retailers will get 15% discount. So, in some cases, yung manufacturer ay nagre-require ng specific action from the retailer such as yung pag-advertising, promotion, and displays to quality for the trade promotions. So the purpose of trade promotion is to encourage retailers to act in a way that helps the manufacturer in achieving its objective. So the following is the few of the key goals of trade promotion in manufacturer's perspective. First is to induce retailers to use price discounts, displays, or advertising to spur sales. Shift inventory from the manufacturer to the retailer and the customer. And lastly is to defend the brand against the competition. Also, next po. Retailer has two primary options in response to a promotion. First is to pass through some or all of the promotion to customers to spur sales. And second is to pass through none of promotion discount to customer but purchase in greater quantity during the promotional period. So the first action lowers the price of the product for the end customer, leading to increased purchases and thus increased sales for the entire supply chain. The second action does not increase purchases by the customer but increases the amount purchased and held at the retailer. So as a result, the cycle inventory and flow time within the supply chain increases. Next is the trade promotions is also made up of several key tools. So ang first key tool is the trade allowances. So it is a special type of discount that a producer gives to wholesalers or retailers in exchange for them promoting and selling their products. So, very useful to itong trade allowances sa trade promotions kasi yung brand ay nagbibigay ng allowances to retailers pero yung retailers has to do something. So, yung co-op advertising isa sa key forms ng trade allowances. Sa when you say co-op advertising, dito yung magbibigay yung manufacturer ng money or pay for the retailer's advertising. For example, yung Best Buy, di ba may mga ads sila sa TV? Meron pang chances na they send direct mails. They also advertise in newspaper. Then meron time na yung ads nila ay about other products like Samsung. So, paano nangyari na yung Best Buy is ina-advertise ng Samsung? Well, what Samsung might be doing is they provide a cooperative advertising dollar to Best Buy, kaya siya nangyari. The second key tool is the trade show. So, it is an event held of a particular industry to display, demonstrate, and discuss their latest product. So, for example, yung Coca-Cola, in terms of end consumers, they really don't need to do a lot of trade show kasi kilala na yung products nila sa industry eh. Pero if there's a chance na they are looking at working through restaurants, trade show yung great tool na pwede nilang gamitin to get involved in marketing communications. Third is the trade incentives, little cash bonuses that the brand will give to a retailer sales force. And last is the trade contest. So, it is a contest device for retail trade salespeople to try to get them to sell the brand more. So, for example, yung Nike, magbibigay sila ng para sa salesperson who sells the most Nike shoes over a certain period of time. Next po is the forward buying. So forward buying is an important phenomenon in both marketing and operations literature. So in marketing, the general view is that because trade promotions are temporary price discounts, retailers simply stock up on good deals when they are offered. So a forward buy happens when a retailer purchases during a promotional time for future sales. It lowers the retailer's future cost of goods for merchandise sold after the offer has ended. So sa forward buying, dito yung pagpo-purchase ng more or ng mas maraming products kaysa sa required lang na amount ng certain product. Nag-o-occur siya when a retailer purchases in the promotional period sales in future period to exploit the temporary reduction of price to maximum profit. So, ang pinaka-example nito is when a shopkeeper purchases ng mas larger quantity of commodity in order to store it or to sell it later. So, yung forward buying, commonly related siya with both price and non-price competition. So, the producers attempt to compete with one another by cutting the prices for a set period of time. Also, if we weren't aware of we aren't aware of it, almost every one of us is part of this program kasi syempre when there's a store or supermarket promotions, people tend to purchase more product during that promotion. Next po. Also, may disadvantages din yung forward buying. First is, forward buying is criticized and second is forward buying increments company's cost. So, next po. The following are the terms to consider in solving short-term discounting. So, yung Q na may asterisk stands for normal order quantity. Yung C is the normal unit cost. Yung small letter D is for short-term discount. Yung big letter D is the annual demand. H is the cost of holding dollar per year. And QD is the short-term order quantity. So let's have an example. Consider a Campbell supermarket selling chicken noodle soup manufactured by Campbell Soup Company. Customer demand for chicken noodle soup is 120,000 cans per year. Campbell charges $3 per can. Campbell incurs a holding cost of 0.2 per dollar of inventory held for a year. So using the EOQ formula, Campbell's normally orders in the following lot size. So ang gagamitin po nating formula doon is yung normal order quantity is equals to the square root of 2ds over HC. Campbell announces that it is offering a discount of $15 per can for the coming 4-week period. The Cab Foods must decide how much to order at the discounted price compared with the lot size of normal order quantity that is normally ordered. So let QD be the lot size ordered at the discounted price. So in solving the forward buy, ang formula doon is yung short-term order quantity minus the normal order quantity. Next po. So the impact of trade promotions on lot sizes. Example, VO is a retailer that sells VitaHerb, a popular vitamin diet supplement. Demand for VitaHerb is $120,000 bottles per year. The manufacturer currently charges $3 per each bottle and DO incurs a holding cost of 20%. DO currently orders in lots of 6,325 bottles. The manufacturer has offered a discount of $0.15 for all bottles purchased by retailers over the coming month. How many bottles of VitaHerb should DO order given the promotion? So, this analysis, yung analysis na to, ang pinapakita niya, pag wala pang discount. So, in the absence of any promotion, DO orders 6,325 bottles. So, given a monthly demand of 10,000 bottles, so kaya siya naging 10,000 bottles kasi yung annual demand kanina is 120,000 bottles. So, dinivide lang siya sa 12 months, kaya naging 10,000 bottles sa monthly demand. DO normally orders every 0.6325 months. Dinivide lang yung short-term order quantity sa demand na 10,000. Kaya nakuha yung 0.6325. So in the absence of the trade promotion, we have the following. Yung second inventory at DO, dinivide lang yung normal order quantity to 2, which is 6,325 divided by 2 is 3,162.50 bottles. For the average flow time, we just have to divide the normal order quantity by 2 annual demand. So 6,325 is 2 na annual demand, we will get 0.3162 months. So in getting the optimal lot size during the promotion, yung short-term order quantity, makukuha natin siya by multiplying the short-term discount to annual demand over normal unit cost minus the short-term discount times the cost of holding plus the normal unit cost times the normal order quantity over the normal unit cost minus the short-term discount. So we will get the short-term order quantity is equal to 38,236 tons. Next po. So ito naman in the presence of trade promotion. So with discount na siya. Ang cycle inventory at DO, so short-term order quantity divided by 2, so is equals to 38,236 over divided by 2 is 19,118 bottles. For the average flow time, we just have to divide the short-term order quantity by 2 annual demand, which is 38,236 divided by 20,000 equals to 1.91118 months. So in this case, the forward buy is given by, ang formula ulit ng forward buy is the short-term order quantity minus normal order quantity, which is ang nakuha natin na short-term order quantity is 38,236 minus sa normal order quantity na 6,325 is equals to 31,911 bottles. So yung forward buy is 31,911 bottles. That's all po. Thank you for listening.
All right, so thank you very much to the four of you. No? So, ang dami information na gusto niyo pa ba? Gusto niyo pa. Wala na sagot eh.
Guys, gusto niyo pa daw ba?
Ha? Hindi, wala. So, magkukwis ba tayo? Yes daw. May nag-message sa
Sir,
akin, yes.
suser.
Yung kasi ang dami na rin eh. Thank you very much. No? Hindi na tayo magkukwis nito today. So, if ever, siguro magkaroon tayo ng baka may pasagutan na lang ako ng isang Google Forms ulit. So, let's see if we can accomplish it this week. No? Pero, sobrang dami na kasi na-discuss. No? So, and even yung last topic, no? So, normally, pagka mga established na yung isang organization, so hindi na natin kinocompute yung mga ganito, ganyan. No? So, it's actually better if kayo yung magiging pioneer IE no, in an organization. Kasi sa tagal na merong nag-o-offer ng IE course, so meron pa rin talagang company na walang industrial engineer. So kaya parang yung iba, pagka pumasok si IE, nag-propose kayo ng ganito improvement, no? Parang amazed agad sila. O, di ba, superstar ka agad doon sa company. May mga ganon incidents, no? And then, kwento rin naman sa atin ng mga ilang kaibigan natin na IEs, no? So, yun. So, but normally, kung mga established na yung companies na yun, so, hindi na natin kailangan pang compute ng mga inventory computations na na-discuss kanina ni Venus, no? So siguro yun lang, and then next week wala kayong schedule next week ng thesis ano ba, defense or meron na ba? Wait lang, check ko lang yung schedule ng IE courses. November 23, 24, and 25. Shared media. Wala na. So, next week, no? So, next week will be our second long exam, no? Pasensya na, second long exam lang tayo. And then, if makakatapos tayo na mas maaga, no? So, sabihin nyo, ayun na, magpapa-exam yun, no? Si Sir Jeboy. Tapos wala naman dun sa exam na kadali-daling sagutan, ano? So, tingnan natin kung ano magiging exam nyo this second long exam. Pero I'll make it sure na medyo makakabawi naman kayo kasi yung as I've reviewed your exam, hindi ko pa masyado lahat na-checkan, no? Pero may mga kasi, may mga group works. Alam niyo naman kung sino yung mga magkaka-circle. And then at the same time, meron talaga na let's say compliant, no? Pero hindi talaga na hit yung gusto natin makuha dun sa exam na yun. So, next week, so that will be your exam. So, that's November 29. So, Monday, November 29 yun. And then, the next on our calendar ay November 29. December 6 na ang sunod, no? December 6. Tapos ay December 6. Hanggang kailan ang semester niyo?
January 4.
January pa. So, yun. Sige, exam lang tayo next week. So, November 29. And then after that, so we'll be finishing discussing the last 3 topics, no? So, yun. And then after that, you can focus na on your kung ano man gusto mong pagkaabalahan pa. No? So, but for now, no, so pwede po ba first time kasi natin gumamit din ng Google Meet eh. So, pwede po bang pa-open ng camera natin para po ma-document ko lang kay Juro. Wala palang camera. Ayan. So, yan. So, para meron tayong tapos naman, may mga bagong gising. Pa-open naman po ng cam. Uy, hindi po ba kayo? May plus points yung mga nag-open ng cam. Joke lang. Ayan, para naman, minsan-minsan na lang kasi tayo magkakitaan eh. So, ayan, Nel. Kamusta ka na, Nel? Welcome back. May message ako sa'yo, Nel. So, sana mag-view mo yung message.